is the Unlearning Podcast, a show where we will begin to disrupt, dissolve, deprogram, and dismantle what we think limits us in order to reinvent, rebirth, and revolutionize the world in our most authentic selves. My name is Christina, and I'm your host. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unlearning Podcast. Today's topic is the mindset of a God-made man. And we have a special guest today, Mr. Ira Curry. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah. So I'm going to speak on your guest introduction and welcome. A lot of people get, I think, once they hear me read their story, it's like, whoa, I did all that? It's like, yes, you did. It's like, this is your moment to celebrate you. So just receive it. Okay. But I'm just letting everyone else know it still doesn't do any justice to all. Like, they really need to go check out your website, your bio, because it is very impressive. I just want you to know that. So I just got this small little paragraph. But so Ira Curry is a God-made chairman, coach, consultant, producer, artist, speaker, and businessman who quit his 9-to-5 and started 2 successful companies before the age of 30. He's the founder and executive chairman of Ira Curry Holdings, where he's a much sought-after business consultant and coach, working with entrepreneurs of all ages, stages, and phases. He's the founder of the Ira Curry Leadership Academy and partners with communities as a community coach. Ira's positivity is taking the world by storm through Ira Curry Media, a series of podcasts, guest interviews, and motivational moments, which have built quite a following. He will launch a nationally syndicated show in the spring of 2023, which is already being recognized as one to watch. Please welcome Ira Curry to the show.
Thank you so much. Wow, I did all that?
Yes, you did. I do my research. I'm a former educator, so I was just amazed in such a short amount of time, just all of the work that you have done. And so I just want to give you this opportunity right now to just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and however you take that is how we're going to flow. So,
yeah. Coach, consultant, producer, chairman. I do a lot, but I think my big focus is being chairman right now. I think it's coaching my CEO to coach our VPs, to coach our employees who are running our company and taking care of our customers. I'm finally at a stage where I'm able to settle. And so for me, that looks like being in LA, focusing to build up my CEO, doing some travel and getting to sit with people like you doing amazing stuff like this, and just really living a life that I worked so hard for behind the scenes, that is finally all paying off, if that makes sense. So in a nutshell, that's who I am. Like, I'm a guy who's doing my thing, just doing my thing.
Yeah. It's always interesting because everyone I've spoken with thus far, they don't do a thing. It's like, don't put me in a box. I'm just doing my thing. And that thing is really resonating with people. So my next question is like, what is it you think about you that resonates with so many people?
I think it's my authenticity. I think it's my strong faith. You know what I'm saying? I think it's the fact that I'm a man who's pursuing God in a way that most people aren't pursuing God. But how I'm combining it to my business and how I'm bold in it, the way I talk about it, but not in a religious way, more in a relationship. I walk with God like Enoch type way. And so I think that plays with it. That's what my audience resonate with the most, because it's almost like they're seeing something that they've never seen before. But it's almost like they're at the point where they need this. They need to see it, because if they can see it, they can start to achieve it. They can start to do it as well. And so, hopefully that answered the question.
No, it does. That was great. You identify as being a God-made man. So what does that mean for you? Because to your point, sometimes I think people will look at, oh, well, I'm not religious, or I'm not walking the walk, and then they totally dismiss or discredit themselves. So what is it that to you that is a God-made man?
So, Christina, I tell people that there are so many people that say that they're self-made, right? Like they were responsible for themselves. And to an extent, I do believe that because they used they used materials, they depended on people to put them in positions and give them information to take them to places, right?
Yeah.
And so with me, what makes me God made is I'm literally, when I created what I created, it was like hearing the voice of God. I had to first learn how to hear the voice of God, and then I had to start seeking Him in a way that most people would consider to be unique. I would have these business meetings with God, as I learned to hear His voice. And I'm like, God, tell me. So I'm thinking about adding this to the company. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, so now that we're implementing that, what should we do next? You know what I'm saying? I'm treating God like my CEO. He's coaching me through the process. And so when I say God made, like everything from the Ira Curry show to Ira Curry Holdings to the employers that have came to the VPs to the CEO, like all of this was brought together literally by God. But it was by me staying resilient in my pursuit of Him to listen to the instructions that He was giving me, just like He gave Noah instructions to build the ark.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice. So take us back to the first time, and we're going to get to your unlearning in a minute, because the whole story, when I saw your video, when you talked about your job and what God told you, was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that. But what was that? Where was your mind when God first talked to you about, I'm going to need you to do this thing. Now I need you. You've been prepared all this time. Now I need you to pivot. What was your mind or going on in your mind at that time?
I didn't feel worthy. Like I didn't understand because I didn't know God back then the way that I know God today. And so I thought the only way you could get to know God is you had to go to church and you had to read the word and He would start to lead you to Him. But God started to pursue me. So when He met me in corporate America, He met me in a part of my purpose. But I wasn't fully operating at my 100%. But He was using everything to work it together for my good. So when I was in corporate America and when He brought His voice to me one day saying, hey, it's time to step away, I'm like, wait a minute, who is this? Like, what? Like, am I really hearing the voice of God, or is this the devil? And so I think I was in a very insecure moment, and it was a very nerve-wracking moment because it required letting go of stability and security in what I've always known in order to step into the unknown.
Yeah. Wow. So take us back to that, because and again, we'll have your website in the description, but when I saw your video of you telling the story, and please don't take this wrong, I laughed because I saw your personality, but you're also telling this story that to me is insane. Like, you just walked in. Yeah. How did you do that? So my mind just went several different places, but please share with us, like, what was that like that day, that particular day?
So May of 2018, I knew God was telling me to let go of my job. And as the months went on and on, things started to happen around me to confirm that either you go or you're going to be in a situation where you would have wished that you would have left, in a sense. Okay? I think God will get you to a level of maturity to where at this point, you're going to step into your purpose because I have more for you. And I'm not even going to let you get away from your plans. The day that I walked in, I had made up in my mind that I was about to step away from this job because God was calling me to step into something, even though I didn't know what that something was. And so I'll never forget, Christina. I walked into the dealership and I'm like, it's like God literally lined everything up. Like, I'm in the dealership, I'm walking in the dealership and my boss and his big boss is there. I'm like, God, really? And as I'm walking in from a 2-week vacation, God is like, you got to make this happen today. This is the day, no more.
So wait, you had 2 weeks of a vacation?
I had 2 weeks of vacation. God was like, no, I think it was a week. Yeah, it was a week. He was like, take your vacation. You're going to get more confirmation on the vacation. And you have got to make this decision once you get back. Right? Coming back from the week vacation, my boss and his boss is there. And I'm like, hey guys, can I talk to you guys for a minute? Like that. And they're like, yeah, sure. So we go into the office. And before you know it, I'm saying, hey, I don't know how to say this, but I think today is going to be my last day. What? What do you mean? You'll never make it. Like, what are you going to do? Like, I'll never forget how the voices was coming at me, and it was just questioning me. It was almost as though it wanted to question my ability. Like, man, did I really hear God? Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And before I knew it, I was being escorted back home by our company driver to take me back home, away from the premises. So it
So
was
they
very
went
dramatic.
from, wait, this is okay. So they went from what to then you're not going to make it,
Yeah.
and questioning and trying to plant seeds of doubt, to then having the company driver take you home. Like, we just done with you.
We're done. Like, I was
Wow.
planning to put in my 2 weeks notice, but they wasn't going to have that. But the way I look at it now, God needed it to be that dramatic so that he could get me ready for what he had to get me ready for. It would not have been a common story to just say, hey, I walked in when they put in my 2 weeks notice and we was like, bye.
Yeah.
He needed to see some things. He needed me to feel a certain way in order for me to put me in a position to where I had no other choice but to rely on him. Where I had no other choice but to say, okay, God, you're really all I got now because I done screwed up. So whether that was the devil or whether it was really you, I need you to come through for me.
Yeah.
And it put me in a position to where I needed God. And it was the best thing I ever did. And 30 days later, I was going to find out what was next in my life.
Wow. Wow. And so in that time, because we're talking about the mindset of a God-made man, and so part of what you're saying is it's the walking with checking in, having our morning huddles. But then I also feel like there's something that you needed to do within yourself, right? Because there's also God, yes, brings us through and God guides us. God also requires us to do what he's asking us to do. And so were there ever moments in your mindset where you were just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this? God, like your mind started going to old ways of thinking as he's trying to renew your mind.
So many times on a journey. And I won't even say that I don't experience those at some point in my journey because we go from level to level and the battles get bigger and bigger, right? Just at different levels. So I think back in my early days, the struggles I had was, man, like, how am I going to do what you're showing me? How am I going to get these people aligned with the vision? How am I going to get the employees to step into what I need them to step into in order to move this company forward? So that was one challenge. And as we moved forward from what I call micro challenges now, it was more like, how am I going to get through this healing phase? Right? How am I going to come up higher in my thoughts? How am I going to let go of people, places, things, spaces that no longer serve me in the season that I'm at in order to step into the season that God needs me to step into?
Yeah.
So for me, those were big boy, big girl issues. You know what I'm saying? Like once we got past the employees and all of that, God was asking me to heal, to come up higher in my thoughts, because that's all healing is. You're just retraining your thoughts, renewing your mind. And as I made that 3-year, 4-year healing journey was one of the hardest journeys of my life. But that for me was a key component to the success that I've had today because I got healed.
Yeah. So how do you now define success? Like, I've talked to other people who, as they're healing, and like you said, there are things that no longer serve you. The things that you thought mattered don't really matter anymore. And so how do you now define success, whatever that looks like?
My definition of success is not cars and houses and fame and all of that. It's now putting people in position to get what I've got, right? To allow them to experience what I've experienced, to help them make the leap from corporate America, to put them into a program that can help them start their companies, grow their companies, to coach my CEO on how to run a multi-million-dollar company, to coach our VPs to make sure that they're in leadership positions, to put people in position, our people, to look like and be in things that they once upon a time wasn't qualified, to create groups for Black men, right? And uplift them. This is my version of success now, allowing God to work through me to get to others in a unique way. Not a way that the world is familiar with. Not a way where the world is like, oh, wow, I don't see him in the church, but he talks about God. I need I need people to see God outside of the church.
Come on.
That's what success is for me. I need people to see a side of God that He's shown me that they may not be familiar with, that they may not have thought that that was once possible. So these are my different versions of success, right? Mm. And I think for me, the more that God and I co-create and work together, we're able to bring a different spin to the world as to what it's really like to walk on earth with God like Enoch did.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I'm sitting here as you're talking, and what would you say to that young man who, because like to your point, it's not about just going to church. It's about the relationship. That's what I hear you saying. It's about the relationship that you have with God, and then allowing God to take a different place in your life, basically leading your life. What would you tell someone, a young man who doesn't know God, like you said, in that traditional way, and is just already discrediting themselves? What would you tell them to get them to a point to be open with God?
Such a good question. God will meet you at your level. He will act, talk, speak, walk like you to get your attention so that He can bring you into position. So God doesn't want you to be perfect. He doesn't want it to be figured out before He gets you where His job is to make you perfect. His job is to bring you up to the different level. He needs you just like that. He needs you broken. He needs you in your sin. He needs you everything, the way that you are currently operating. He needs you just like that. If I had to tell that young guy, I would be like, hey, you need to get connected with someone who's connected. Okay? Someone who knows God in a way that you need to get to know God. He don't want you perfect. He just wants you to start to pursue Him. And as you start to pursue Him, He's going to blow your mind because He's going to meet you at your level, even if that means talking like you, making the jokes that you would relate to. And that's what I would tell him. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that because that's what that's a whole nother conversation. But that's, just as the body of Christ, how we can turn people off.
Yeah.
Because we fake the funk, pardon my French, because we're not all there. We all messy.
Exactly.
And we will dismiss. I had this experience one time when I attended a church. It was a mega church in Atlanta when I was there. And there was a man who walked in, and clearly you could tell that this man was homeless and had some type of mental impairment. But the man walked in and sat down, like 3 rows away from the pulpit. The ushers and deacons went over to this man, and the pastor was preaching, and the man got up and walked out. And so when the pastor looks again, pastor said, wait, he stopped the whole the sermon, said, hey, where did that man go? And one of the deacons had to, we asked him to tuck his shirt in or whatever. And then that's when pastor told the whole congregation, we don't ever do that. We don't ever turn anybody away from coming in here. It's come as you are, wherever that is. We have to love on people. And that's what the message became. We got to start loving on people so that they come to us and see the reflection of God's love, not tuck your shirt in. And so it just gave me a newfound appreciation for what I was being taught at the time. But then also, I got to start looking at people differently than with this judgment that we bring in the church. And we know it's there. We know it's there. We're people who are learning as well, but there needs to be more love in if we want people to come. And so what I hear you saying is when God meets us where we are, doesn't turn anyone away, and He lets the love speak for itself.
That is correct. And just to add to that, because you made a very good point, I think we have to realize that we were once where we were. We were once where the world was before God pulled us up out of the world, right? And so it's very important to note that people are still in those places and they need to see hope that they can get out of those places. I tell God all the time, just because she's doing it, it don't mean I can do it. See, I'm a little bit more mature in the things of the Lord, right?
Yes.
And so he has a certain standard that I must hold myself according to, right? But then there are some people who just, they don't know any better, so they don't do any better. And so our job is not to judge them, it's to put them in position to tell them that God will meet you where you are. He wants you just like that, in your sin, doing what you're doing, and he's going to be the one that will get to know you before he tries to heal you.
Yes.
He's not here to just fix you right away. He literally wants to get to know you, bro. He literally wants to get to know you. Right? I feel like there's going to be someone that's listening to this that's really resonating. He wants to get to know you just where you are at. And so then he can start showing you how to be a real man, how to be a real woman, right?
Yes.
And I think that's key. Yeah.
Yeah, because the love and hip hop got to go for our people.
Yeah.
It has got to. It has got to go. It's not working. And so we need to definitely get back to someone else put it before, keep the main thing.
Yeah.
And you'll always be okay. So yeah. So then what's next for you? So what can we anticipate? And I hope you start talking about, because I'm excited about your show. I can't wait for it to come out. I'm super excited. Just what is on the horizon for you in the next evolution of Ira Curry?
Man, it's so much. I mean,
tell it all.
I can't tell too much, but what I can say, what I'm released to say now is, next year I'm bringing out a book. It's a powerful book. I can't give the name, I can't give details, but I'm bringing out a book, and so I'm super ecstatic about that. And I think the book is going to be tailored not just to entrepreneurs, not just to people who started a business, but people who have a dream to go out and create what they don't know how to create.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be a powerful book. And also the Ira Curry show.
Yes.
So I don't know how much deep I can go into that, but we've been recording the Ira Curry show since 2020. I announced it to my fans last year. They're super excited. And we've just been constantly just recording it throughout the year for season 1. And so this show it's very different. So what I can tell you is that it is God-centered, but it's God with a twist, right? It's a show that's based on God, faith, and an entrepreneurship, right? It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you feel like you can get your purpose and step into it. It's going to give you hope. It's going to give you joy. And it's also going to give you some more things at a later time about the show.
Yeah. I know you got to tease us. I'm with it, but I love the premise, because even when I looked, and again, go to your website. What is your website again? I mean, we're going to do a plug-in.
.com.
IraCurry.com. The premise was so different because it didn't fall into, like you said before, like a Christian only type show,
right?
But it also wasn't secular. It's something else that you're taking what's relevant, I think, in both and making your own thing, which is what it was like. Oh, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to really. I can only imagine. I would say, based on what I've seen, I'm very much looking forward to it. So
I want to create something that the world can relate to. I don't want it to just be so Christian based. I literally want to create it for that guy who don't have a relationship with God, but that's curious.
Yes.
For that woman who haven't really gotten to know God the way that but she's curious. And so throughout watching this, it can start to show a different side of God. I think that's important right now.
Yeah. It is, because what you're also bringing forward is worthiness, like worthiness in the now. Because I'd done a recording, just like a little reflection, that we often put conditions on ourselves with the if-thens. You know, like, first I'm gonna do this. If I drop 20 pounds, then I'm gonna be able to fit this bathing suit, and then I can go on a vacation. Rather than saying, what actually, I really want to go on vacation, and I'm worthy enough to go just as I am, because it's more about the experience or the quality time as opposed to how I'm going to look. And we are putting conditional statements on ourselves by doing that. And so, like, to what you were saying, you're kind of removing that for people to say, nah, I'm worthy enough to receive this now, which is awesome. Yeah.
So true. There's no better time than now. You got to step into it while you have the opportunity to step into it. And I think this show, as it goes back to it, it gives people that certainty that they could do this like right now. Now it's why not now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Start by starting. That's what I like to say.
That's it.
So what's one thing you would want listeners to know about the journey that you shared with us?
I would want listeners to know that everyone's journey is going to be different. And you can't compare someone's chapter 10 to your chapter 1. And as you start to move into your purpose and you start to move out of your career, you're going to need some power that's bigger than you. You're going to need something that you can take that's going to get you to the next level, that doesn't consist on relying on people. And so what I would leave listeners with is that you have to start to pursue the person that created you, right? And so you have to get to know who he is, so that because he already know who you are. And I think what I want to leave people with the most is that you can accomplish and you will accomplish every single one of your dreams, but you got to be willing to not give up when the times get tough. And I think that's what I would leave people with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I got a couple more questions. These are my signature questions.
Love it.
So these are on the spot, but they're good. Don't worry. Name 5 things or 5 traits that you admire. Could be you or anybody, doesn't matter. 5 traits.
That's good. Okay. So I admire confidence. I admire leadership. I admire authenticity. Like, you got to be authentic. I admire humility. Yes, I'm big on that. And I admire peace. Yeah. Peace. Yeah.
Peace within yourself or other people providing the peace?
I think within me, or within yourself, because if you can be, what you are, it starts to show up on the outside. So when you are peaceful, you start to make other people peaceful just by them hanging with you, right? When you're confident, the other people can start to pick up off of that. So yeah, peace within.
Nice. Okay. You can pick the year. Think 3, 5, 10, 1, whatever years in the past.
Okay.
What would this present Ira Curry tell that Ira Curry?
Wow. I will go back to 2009 as a high school dropout. I would tell Ira that you're going to make it. You're going to outdo what they say you won't do. You're going to get back up, and God is going to catapult you into your destiny, and you're going to shoot past everyone in corporate America, and you're going to go out and accomplish every dream that God had placed in your heart. So that's what I would tell him.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, we're going to do the same thing. 3, 5, 10, however far you can see.
Okay.
What would future Ira tell Ira sitting here right now?
You can't give up. The battles are going to get tough. The higher you go into your purpose, you cannot give up. This is not the time to give up. The battles will get bigger, but the promises will get bigger as well. Do not give up.
Say that again, please.
The battles will get bigger, but the promises will get bigger as well. Do not give up.
Yes. Yes. My last question is, where can we find you? Where can we follow you, be in touch?
So good. If you connect with me, follow me at Ira Curry online, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all the social media platforms. The next way for those looking to start a business or grow a business, I can help you do it. You can go to iracurry.com/get started. And you can also go there to connect with me in my free groups where you can get one-on-one with me, and also to get in my movement. So yeah, iracurry.com/get started.
All right. And of course, this will all be in the description for the episode, as well as in the promo material. So you have no excuse. You should be able to contact you whenever, however. So that's the end of our conversation, but I do hope that you will come back whenever you have time. Just please, you are welcome to come back, because we had so many great conversations about different topics, and I just think people need to hear more of you and who you are and what you're doing. And so thank you again for your willingness to just connect to somebody who just threw that out on a Facebook page. And just your commitment to what you're doing and your passion, and just thank you. I'm in awe of what you're doing, and I wish you the best. And if there's any way that our community can support, that's my last question. I lied. I got another one. What can we do as a community to support you in the work that you do?
I think for me, it's all about the community itself. I think believing in yourself, investing in yourself, investing in the things that's going to take you to the next level, getting connected with the people, the places, the spaces, and the places that will allow you to get to your next level. I think as a community, we need to come together, right? I went out to create some groups for like Christian men and just different groups with just people in the Black community, and where we come together as a movement and build people up. And so I think it's important that people get involved in those groups. And so, that's my vision behind it.
Yeah. Well, however we can support, please let us know.
Yeah, and get connected. Get connected in my groups. Get built up. Let us come to all together to build each other up. You can go to iracurry.com/community. It's free groups where you guys can join. For those who are listening and it resonates, let's get connected. Let's build each other up.
Yeah. So that concludes our episode. Again, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story and enlightening us. And I hope that this story resonates. It will resonate with a lot of people. It will. I'm just already saying that. We know it. It will resonate. And thank you so much. Thank you all for listening. And until next time, God bless. This has been the Unlearning Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this little introduction to the show, and I look forward to unlearning with you together in future episodes. If you enjoy the show, which I know you will, please like, share, and subscribe. You can also send me a written or video comment on any of your favorite podcasting apps. This podcast will be available on all podcast platforms. To stay connected, follow me on Christina Jones, the Unlearning Podcast on Facebook, and Unlearn This 2022 on Instagram. Again, thank you for listening, and until next time, what is it that you need to unlearn in your life today to live a better, brighter tomorrow? Thanks.